Hey there, Dr. Avinash here. This video is going to be about HIV and drugs that act against HIV. Of course, we are going to use them for treatment of AIDS. Now, before we go there, we need to understand the life cycle of HIV so that things become very simple. Okay? Otherwise, we will never be able to even understand the mechanism of action of these drugs. Now, if you understand the mechanism of action, there's nothing much left to read from this chapter. You just have to understand the mechanism. The remaining things are really simple. Okay, questions asked from this particular chapter are going to be very less, which I will explain to you which are those questions that will be asked. Okay, so let's start with the first topic, life cycle of HIV. Now, if you have gone through the virology videos from microbiology, you will find this very easy and kind of a revision to what we have already done. Step number 1 is binding of the HIV to the helper T cell. So this cell that I have drawn here is this helper T cell or the CD4 T cell. Okay, so this CD4 T cell has a special receptor called as the CD4 receptor, to which the glycoprotein GP120 binds. So this lollipop, if you can see like this, there's a green lollipop on this. This top part is the GP120. And the one at the bottom is called as GP for glycoprotein, GP40. So this binding is because this GP120 can bind with a specific receptor. There are other co-receptors required like CXCR4 and CCR5 receptor. I'll write it here, CXCR4 and CCR5 receptors. So basically the HIV has to attach with its GP120 to the CD4 receptor. There should be other receptors present which will help the binding to become more firm. Now once that happens, using GP40, the virus fuses with the cell. Now the virus fuses, what comes inside is this part. It's called as the nucleocapsid. Inside the cell, the nucleocapsid undergoes lysis. The virus, its nucleocapsid breaks. The virus is smart, it wants that to happen because the moment the nucleocapsid breaks, out comes the RNA and the various enzymes. One of the most important enzyme here is reverse transcriptase, RT. What does this reverse transcriptase do? It takes the viral RNA and it converts that RNA into DNA. Simple. And that DNA that enters into the nucleus of the CD4 cell and waits there for a correct opportunity. At the correct opportunity, this DNA or molecule of the virus attaches to the DNA molecule of human being's cell. So now the DNA of the virus has been integrated into the host genome. I hope you're getting it. So binding happened, fusion happened, reverse transcription happened. What is reverse transcription? Because of enzyme reverse transcriptase, RNA became DNA. See, normally DNA becomes RNA, hence reverse transcription. And then integration took place. Now after a variable period of time, God knows how much, the viral DNA undergoes decoding. The DNA becomes RNA. The RNA codes for various enzymes, various structural components of the virus, and then the replication has started. Eventually the virus, all the proteins that were made from these mRNAs, all the viral RNAs that were made, they all come together. New virus particle is formed. They bud out of the cell and they move on to attack the next CD4 cell. I hope you have got the life cycle properly. I am going to explain to you the entire mechanism of actions of all the drugs in this chapter based on this one simple concept. Once the HIV starts to multiply, the cycle lasts only for 1 to 2 days. So once the DNA has decided that it will make more viral particles, 1 to 2 days, replication is complete. They will break the CD4 cells and move out. So the HIV is using CD4 cells to make viruses. The problem is CD4 cells are the only line of defense we have that can fight the virus. So the body makes more CD4 cells to fight the virus, and the virus is using CD4 cells to make more copies of itself. So that becomes kind of a vicious cycle, and the immunity keeps on failing because the virus keeps on attacking more and more CD4 cells. Easy? So remember, HIV has an outer shell which has proteins attached to it, the GP120. The CD4 receptor is important, right? Apart from CD4 receptor, I also told you CXCR4 and CCR5 receptors are important. They are called as co-receptors. If I make a drug that blocks the attachment of GP41 or GP120 to the CD4 cells or the CD4 receptors or the co-receptors, then the kind of drugs I will get are called as entry inhibitors. They are called as entry inhibitors. Simple, logical. These entry inhibitors are drugs such as Fuvirtide. Fuvirtide is written in short as T20, and the CCR5 receptor inhibitor called as Maraviroc. So these are two good drugs that can be classified as entry inhibitors and co-receptor blockers. Once inside the cell, what happens? Well, the virus undergoes replication by using an enzyme called as reverse transcriptase, right? Now, what if the reverse transcriptase, which was converting the single strand of HIV RNA into a double-stranded DNA and was fitting it in, we give it wrong nucleotides. Let me give a reverse transcriptase inhibitors blocking the process of converting HIV's RNA into double-stranded DNA. How to do that? Well, I can fool the virus by giving it something that looks like a nucleoside or a nucleotide. So we call it nucleoside or a nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Or I can give something that does not look like a nucleotide and yet inhibits the reverse transcriptase. So NRTIs include zidovudin, didanosine, stavudin, lamivudin, abacavir, M-tricitabine and tenofovir. Whereas non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors include nevirapine, efavirenz, delaverdin, etravirin and rilpivirine. So remember these names please from your textbook. They are very, very important. What does the virus do later on? Well, it undergoes integration. It gets inserted into human DNA, right? Let us block this particular step. Now, when that happens, integration not takes place, viral infection will not progress. This is a drug called as raltegravir and dolutegravir. So these two drugs work like this. And lastly, once the DNA becomes RNA and RNA becomes proteins, the proteins will do the work of the virus, right? So viral DNA becomes viral proteins. Now the virus is smart. You know what it does? It makes one big protein like this, and then it uses smaller enzymes called as proteases to break it down into various parts. So this might be GP41, this might be GP120, this might be reverse transcriptase. You get the point. Getting it? It's like getting a birthday cake. You get a big birthday cake, and then depending on how many number of people are there, you cut it. The cutting is done by a knife. Here the knife is protease. Each one will get a piece, each one with a different design on it, each one with a different function. I hope I made my point clear. So functional proteins are made by proteases. If I block this, the cutting and assembling of processes will not take place, right? HIV medicines that block this process will be called as protease inhibitors, and these include drugs such as ritonavir, atazanavir, indinavir, nelfinavir, saquinavir, fosamarinavir, lopinavir and darunavir. Please remember as many of these medications as possible. Now once you have gone through this, trust me, half the battle is won. Now you already know the entire classification, and if you know the classification, you automatically know the mechanism of actions. simple. Sorry. So what I expect from you is, from your textbook, at least have a look at Zidovudin. Just read so that it's at the back of your mind. Just in case there's an odd question, you know what to write. Lamivudin, Nevirapine, and please do Ritonavir. These are important 4 answers that I want you to do from your textbook. I hope it's easy for you to do this. At least this you try to do. Okay. Now once you're done with this, use your textbook, go a little bit forward, and here they would have given you something called as HAART, the HIV treatment principles and guidelines. Start reading like just as if you're reading a novel. It's not really to be done in detail. You need to know what is called as HAART, highly active antiretroviral therapy, combination of 3 or more drugs whenever necessary. Monotherapy should not be done, otherwise resistance starts. Okay, so all this is crap. Nobody wants to do all this. You have to directly jump onto where is that table? Yes, this is the table. The first line, antiretroviral regime for adults and adolescents. So preferred regime and alternative regimes. You need to by heart these, as many combinations as you can. It would be good. At least both the preferred regimes and at least 2 alternative regimes should be by hearted, and you should know other general principles. Good to know. This is not a must know. If you can, that would be good. Okay. The only thing that I want you to do absolutely perfect is called as the post-exposure prophylaxis. See, as a healthcare worker, you and I, as doctors, and our staff nurses, all the mamas that work in our hospital, the ward boys, they are all at risk of getting HIV by an accidental needle prick, or a sharp instrument, or contact with blood, biological fluids of HIV patients, or maybe by blood transfusion, right? These people have zero fault of their own. Why should they suffer from AIDS? So, what do? You have to give them post-exposure prophylaxis. Okay. Now, who to give and who not to give is given here. High risk, low risk, no risk. Okay. This is important. Please do this. High risk people are people who are HIV positive. They are not taking antiretroviral treatment, or they have high RNA titer or low CD4 count, and the exposure was through hollow, large bore needle. Deep puncture was there. There was patient's blood visible on the needle, or there was a sexual exposure, major splash or area of contact of longer duration with mucous membrane or abraded skin of blood, genital secretions, amniotic fluid, CSF, breast milk, so on and so forth. Low risk is patient is HIV positive but asymptomatic, low RNA titers, high CD4 count, so his immunity is decently good, is taking ART, and exposure is through mucous membrane or a small area of brief contact or a superficial scratch or through a thin solid needle. Okay, we call it needle stick. And if it is confirmed HIV negative, exposure with urine, sweat, non-blood stained saliva, or through unbroken skin, the exposure has happened, there is no risk at all. So in case there is a high risk or a low risk, you don't take a risk. You start a 4-weekly regime of at least 2 antiretroviral drugs. You will give 2 NRTIs. Okay, start it as early as possible. So current WHO guideline says minimum 2 NRTI antiretroviral drug regime, and if you can add the third one, that would be great. You can add a newer category also. Okay, so if the source is HIV patient, okay, has already taken 1 or more of the ART regimes, it is likely that they are having drug resistance. So you can take alternative PEP regimes. So you find out which drug the patient has taken, and then you customize 2 drugs that the patient has not taken. So basically you are hoping that 2 drugs which the patient is still not resistant to. So this is the post-exposure prophylaxis table that you will have to by heart. You can skip for this children part, but for adult you need to do this. The preferred 2 NRTI, the preferred protease inhibitors, and the alternative third drug. Please remember this. given for 4 weeks. Very simple. You need to write that. Okay. Now this is something that is very important. Prophylaxis after sexual exposure is the same as needle stick injury. 28-day regime of tenofovir, M-tricetabine plus raltegravir is most popular. And for perinatal, this is something that can be asked in your vivas. Mother to child transmission, this can happen through placenta or through during delivery or by breastfeeding. The highest risk actually from mommy to baby is during the birthing process. Like 66% chance this will happen during the birthing process, only 33% chance it will happen through all these placenta and by breastfeeding and all that. So all HIV positive women who are not on ART should be put on 3-drug regime for ARTs, continue through the delivery and into the postnatal period. This will reduce the transmission of HIV from the mother to the baby, plus it will benefit mother's health also. So in India, the National AIDS Control Organization NACO gives tenofovir, lamivudine and efavirenz as a fixed dose combination single tablet once daily, ideally from the the time of detection of HIV. Plus the neonate should be given nevirapine for 6 weeks. And prefer cesarean section, especially if the RNA, HIV RNA is higher at the time of delivery, then just deliver cesarean instead of going by the vaginal route, because while delivery is taking through vaginal route, chances of the transmission is pretty high. So this is the bare minimum that you have to do from this chapter. Please have a look at it. Revert back to me if you have any kind of doubts. I am there to help you out. This is Dr. Avinash signing off for now. Moving on to the last topic, which is going to be anti-malarial. I'll see you there. Till then, take care, keep studying and keep rocking. Bye bye.